So the purpose of this tutorial is for those students who would be considering doing a laser cut inlay design for their lid. Now, this is not going to show you exactly, how to make it work for a laser cutter. Really all I'm going to show you in this tutorial is how you can find an image or a design off the internet and incorporate that into your lid, just so that you can show visually roughly what your lid design is going to look like. That's the only reason why I'm doing this tutorial. Okay, but one of the constraints that I'm going to put on any of those students wanting to do a laser cut design is I want their lid to have a frame on it. The reason for this is to just laser cut a piece of timber and have some design on it and have that as being your lid, in some ways is a little bit too simple, but also it just would look unfinished. You'll end up having sort of exposed end grain, and particularly by cutting plywood, it's just not going to look very nice. So it really is my advice, in fact my instruction, that you are going to make a frame for your lid. So in this tutorial, I'm also going to show you how to make a simple mitered frame with a rebate in it so that the actual lid sits in the rebate. Okay, so here's my trinket box. Now I'm just going to get a measurement of the width here. So that's 130 millimeters. So I'm going to make my lid 140 millimeters wide. And that length there is 220. So I'm going to make my lid 230 millimeters long. And same with the other lid design tutorial that I did. What that will give me is a lid that overhangs the sides by 5 millimeters. Okay, so I'll go to a top view, and I'm going to make my lid up here. So T for tape. I'll just give myself some guides to start off with. Maybe if I go 170 millimeters up that way, then from that I'm going to do another guide, which is going to be the width of my lid. So that's going to be 140. Then off the green axis here, I'm going to go to 30. So that sets out my lid. Now I'm going to start with the borders for my lid. I'll just get rid of this here, or the frame is really what I should say. And I'm going to make that out of timber that's 20 millimeters thick. So I'm going to basically come in from all of these edges 20 millimeters. So I'm going to go up this way 20, so make sure that line's green. Come down 20. Now I'm not sort of articulating, all of the commands, because by now, if you've done all the tutorials, you'd be pretty up to speed with all of the commands. Okay, L for line. I'm going to go from this intersection here to that intersection there. I'll zoom in close, make sure, yep, that's on the line. And I'm going to do mitered corners. They're going to be at 45 degrees. So I'm going to come across like this, down, and then back to that point. And when it goes grey, now I know that I've actually made a shape. Okay. The other thing too is now is a really good time to create that rebate for my lid. And you'll see what I mean in a sec. So again, T for tape measure. I'm going to come in from that edge and I'm going to go in 6 millimeters. And then L for line, and I'm just going to go from that intersection there down to there. H for pan, I'm just going to drag that down a little bit. And you'll see shortly what this is all about. All right, so O for orbit, just so I get a slightly side view. P for push, I'm going to hover over this larger section here, and I'm going to come up 15 millimeters. And that's just a design decision on my part, which represents the thickness of the timber. Now, it doesn't have to be 15 millimeters. It could be thicker, it could be thinner. I just think about 15 millimeters proportionally will look good on the box. The other thing too is it depends on what timber is available in the workshop And I know that we can find timber that is either 15 millimeters thick or it's thicker, and we can sand it down to 15 millimeters thick using the finishing sander. So I just go up this way, type 15. Now the plywood with the veneer on it, that's going to be here with as my inset panel, that plywood is 3 millimeters thick, and we're going to put a nice veneer on top of it, which will make it 4 millimeters thick. So if that's 15 millimeters, I need this to come up 11 millimeters. And if I just orbit a little bit more, so I've just pressed O for orbit, you can see what I've got here now. So I've got, if I come in really close, T for tape, you'll see that that's 4 millimeters, and my panel can sit in there. O for orbit, just to change my view a little bit. Then I'm going to turn this now into a component. So I can left triple click it, then right click, make component, and I'm going to call it lid end. All right, so that's done. H for pan along. Now I can do my side piece. So L for line. So if I go from that intersection there, down to that point there, across to that point there, back up this way. Now, this time I don't need to put a second guide in here, because what I can do is I can actually start this line from here, and as long as it's red, meaning it's parallel, it's in the right place. So there's my line. P for push. This one comes up 15. O for orbit, just so I can come around the other side. P for push. This one comes up 11, or what I can do is I can hover over there, and you'll see down the bottom right hand corner it says 11. Perfect. Then again, go to my select tool, left triple click. I'll just click away and show you, you could do a marquee selection there. You just got to be careful that you don't accidentally select anything else. Right click, make component, and we'll call it lid side. Okay. Now all we need to do is duplicate these two pieces. So Control C, Control V. It's over here. We've got to flip it. So right click on it, flip along, components green, M for move, and just remember known point to known point. So we grab that corner there and we stick it onto that point there. Perfect. All right, let's do now for the end piece. So we've selected that, right click, sorry, bit ahead of myself. Control C, Control V. Here it is. I'll just zoom back out a little bit. Come in, place it here, right click, flip along, and is that components red? Yep. M for move, grab a known point. There we go. So we've got our frame for our lid made. All right, so now all we need to do is we just need to make the inset panel that's going to sit inside here. Quite easy for rectangle. And if we go from, I'll come in real close so you can see, if we go from that corner there, come across, come in real close to this corner here, we've made a rectangle. P for push, and we're going to push it down 4 millimeters. Now, just so that we can see us doing it, let's just go to the X-ray mode. So X for X-ray, and we'll turn X-ray on. Hover over there. Let's go down, type 4, enter. And even to make it easier to see, if I select this end piece here, right click on it and just hit hide. Let's go in close, O for orbit. Yeah, you can see that panel sitting in there really nicely. All right, let's turn the X-ray off. Okay, and we'll unhide everything now. There we go. So we've got everything back there now. So that's basically our lid done. So now all you need to do is you would have gone out and done a little bit of research, and you would have found a nice design that you would like to have the laser cutter engrave and cut veneer pieces, so you can do a veneer inlay using the laser cutter. So really all we need to do now, I'm just going to orbit up a little bit to change the view. All you need to do now is import the image in and put it onto that surface so that you can see it. Now, if you look at the shape of this surface, it's a rectangle. So if your image is square, there's two things you can do with it, which you do outside of SketchUp. You might crop it to make it a little bit more like this shape here, or if it's an image that you're happy to, distort or whatever, in here I'll show you how you can resize it so that it fits this surface here. Okay, so all I do now is I go to my little folder up here, so File Operations, click on that, and I'm going to insert a file. And you'll see here I can insert three kinds of files: a SketchUp file, a PNG, which is an image file, and a JPEG, which is another image file. And I've found one, and I've got it sitting on the desktop on my computer. So I'm going to go to my computer, and here it is here. And I get a choice of inserting it as an image or as a material. In this case, it's easier and simpler if we insert it as an image. And here it is. So I'm just going to zoom out so we can see it. So it's come in, it's a rectangle, but at the moment it's kind of facing the wrong way. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to left click and leave it there. So I've left clicked and then I've left clicked again. Then I'm going to go here and I've got my different tools here. I'm going to rotate it. So this is the rotate tool. Now to rotate something, it's usually good. Well, there's a few different ways you can do it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to hover over the corner of the image, left click, then I'm going to go up so I can see the red axis line, left click again, then I'm going to move this way and I'm going to look down that bottom right corner and make it and move until it clicks to 90 degrees. So you can see down the bottom right corner, that's clicked to 90 degrees, left click again. All right, I'm just going to undo all that just so I can go over it again. So rotate tool, so that's over here. So there's your rotate. Find a corner, left click, go up, so I've got a red axis, left click again, move around till it snaps to 90, left click again. So that's 3 clicks to do that. Now we go M for move, so we'll grab a corner and I'm going to move it, just come in nice and close, and I'm going to move it so that it sits on that corner. Now if it disappears like that, don't worry just yet. So I'm going to M for move, blue axis, I want it on the blue, and I'm just going to go 1, enter. There we go. All right, I come back to my top view. So at the moment, I've just got it sitting very slightly above the top there. So view, I'm just going to go to my standard view top. Now what I want to do is I want to scale it so that it fits over the top there. So again, we go, this is the scale tool. All right, so then there's a few different, if you look at this, there's different handles. It's red scale about opposite point. I'm just going to show you what it does. So that sort of squashes it in. You can go from this end and that squashes it in that way. Or you can do a uniform scale, which I'm going to start with, although I'm going to need to distort it a little bit. Okay, so I've got it to there. Then I'm just going to grab this end grip here and I'm going to stretch it up to there. Okay, so there's my design. I'm just going to press escape to click away from it. O for orbit. Have a bit of a look around. Now the thing is that, yeah, if it does distort it too much, what you really want to do is you want to use some sort of other image manipulation software like Photoshop or whatever you use outside of SketchUp to get it into roughly the right shape. Now I can see from that I can make it a little bit wider across this way, so I'm going to do that. There's a few little tips and tricks with the scale tool that you can learn. I mean, I can do that in another tutorial at some other stage, but at the moment, this is giving us enough for this, for the purposes of this. All right, so that's pretty good. I'll just turn that off. So there's our lid there. So the next thing I'm going to do, O for orbit, I'm just going to come around this way, and I'm going to select all of the lid. So I'm doing a marquee selection, and I'm going to make that into a group. Then I'm going to place it on top of my box. Now to do that, same as in the last tutorial, T for tape, I need to make myself a little mark out in space to land it on. In fact, I'm not going to do it from there. It's going to be easier if I do it from this corner here. So if I grab that corner there and come down here on the red axis, 5mm, so 5, enter. Then go from that point and come out this way on the green axis, 5, enter. Then M for move. If I grab that corner, so if you look at that bottom corner there, and then come up here and I go right in and I put it onto that mark there. There you go. Got the lid in place. So I'm going to delete my guides. O for orbit, have a bit of a look around. And there it is. Now the only other thing I might want to do there, I might want to go think about what sort of timber I might want to have for my border. Now because I've made that a group, I need to select it, right click, edit group, and then I can select all of these different components in it. And if I then go to my materials, you can go to various things, but you can go to your colors palette and go, oh, I might try a dark colored timber like this. And then I can just go around. And I'll just click away. So you can get a bit of an idea of what it's going to look like. All right, so that's, if you're going to do a laser cut design, that's how I'd like you to present your box to me.